Welcome in the world of logging. Let's go back in time at least 100 years and check out the BC Forest Discovery Center. Behind me you can see a real loggers camp. The Discovery Center has more than 100 acres of forestry heritage and, above all, operating narrow gauge steam locomotives. A paradise for a model railroader like me. It is always so interesting to check out how those loggers lived in those days. Don't mind your teacher, he's having fun banging the triangle for dinner. And let's get serious. Look how well equipped those so-called primitive communities were. An office, fabulous kitchen, dining room, and even a real dance hall was there for the necessary entertainment. And how did they do their laundry? Long woolly underwear and socks had to be washed daily. But how do you dry? Of course, a line is an option, but there is something what goes a bit faster. Bunkhouses like this always had a pot stove like this for the heat, of course, but ideal for drying your underwear. However, this could be a smelly place. And this is the birthday boy, Samson, 107 years old. How cool is that? Wonderful. And there's everything. We have a party, we have a cake, and we're gonna sing for him. Hip, hip, hooray. And above all, I found my topic for the next painting. So, let's create a masterpiece. Hello and welcome in the studio. As you can see, I made a steady underpainting of grey of our steam locomotive. And that was absolutely necessary. With a highly complicated topic like this, a good underpainting is so important. And maybe you will say to me, Michael, this painting is almost ready. Absolutely not. Believe me, there's tons of work to do. And of course, we have a special guest, Petrus van Schendel. Yeah, hard to pronounce, like my name, Schutte, almost impossible, I know, but what does it matter? He was a specialist in candlelight scenes. Fantastic. As I said, we got tons of work to do, so at work. If you've seen my former shows, you know the drill. First a bit yellow ochre and lighter crimson, and some titanium white above the horizon, just to make it look far away. The next layer might be grayish, because we don't want a real blue sunny sky this time. And on top we can add some more dark gray. We don't want to paint a lot of clouds this time, we just want steam. In fact, it's the same trick. Take some highlight, a filled brush, and push it into the wet paint. And then fade it out softly. On the left side we will do some more steam what's coming out of the pipe. It might need a little bit of light, and look what a great effect. It looks like Samson is steaming. Of course, the station needs a platform. The platform is easy. Mix a bit of burnt sienna with titanium white and give it a nice underlayer. In the lower parts a bit grey. And with a stick as a ruler you can make nice straight lines. Just fill it in with dark grey. Later on we will add more details to it. First let's take a look at the work of a fantastic painter, Petrus van Schendel. I promised to show you the work of the master of candlelight scenes, Petrus van Schendel. Look at these ladies on a farmer's market bargaining about some vegetables. What a wonderful flickering candlelight, even better than a photograph. Petrus loved to paint in the so-called clair-obscur style. This is painting from dark to light. In Belgium, he had the nickname Monsieur Chandelle. That means, free translation, Monsieur or Mr. Candlelight. Yes, he was the master of the candlelight scenes, without any doubt. Look at this beautiful painting of a mother and child. Watch playful use of shadow and light. It's astonishing. Check out the work of Petrus, it's lovely. As far as I know, there are only a few painters in the world who could do this technique. And we, tough workers as we are, we take the fan brush and with different tones of grey, we can paint the gravel bed for the tracks. You can even put a bit of burnt sienna into it, or maybe some green if you like it for some weeds. Add more dark grey when you move forward, and close to the rails we can add a bit more grey to lighten up the gravel bed. What a fantastic technique. But first of all, we will draw the railway sleepers, what a difficult word for a European, with some dark grey, and of course we will use the stick as a ruler. With a small round brush we can paint the edges. Look how easy that is. Towards you, the planks will be bigger for the perspective effect. Use a medium and press the brush flat as a knife, and then it will draw as a pencil, so easy. Make them a bit darker as we're looking right through it. As we have to move forward, we skip the drawing part a bit and start painting the planks or sleepers. We can use the burnt sienna again and add a bit of dark grey to it, or even some darker grey. After all, it's not rotten wood, but weathered wood. On the other side we can do the same, give the wood some structure and then paint the edges dark again. We can even make it rough with a knife. Just scratch it lightly over the wet paint and look what a wonderful effect. Let's put up the rail tracks with a palette stick again. Use dark grey, and with a small round brush you can even draw them easily. Let's first take a look at Samson. Of course your teacher is curious who will drive this train, and he was surprised about all this beauty. And I don't mean this beauty, but this beauty.
And can you tell us your name?
Maddie.
And you got a dream position of every boy in the world.
Definitely.
Great.
And we were thinking about an old rock-bearded die-hard engineer. And with a cute engineer like this, it will be a great ride. Buckle up. Take a look at your teacher. He's back in his childhood again, playing with his model trains. Okay, everybody has the right to be a kid again, so now and then. Let him be happy, what does it matter? The ride is shaky and spoiled as we are. I can imagine that a voyage by train of 10 hours like they did 100 years ago can be a bit exhausting. But before you know it's over, and we arrived in the middle of the birthday party of Samson. We were invited by the kind volunteers, but we have to move forward and get back to work again. But it was great fun. With the ruler as a helping aid, we can draw the other tracks. It might be good to add the bit of English red to give the impression of rusty iron. With the fan brush, we can build up some foliage. First we start with grey, and watch my technique. I wiggle and use the corner of the fan brush. And on the other side, I do exactly the same, only I add a bit of green earth to it. And it's up to you how green and how dark you want to make it. Just go ahead and use your fantasy. Let's do something brave. With a palette stick we can paint a tree trunk, and a nice color is always burnt sienna and a bit of dark grey. With a light tone of burnt sienna we can put up some light and of course the branches too. Roughen it up with the knife and look what a wonderful effect. The background is ready and the rails are there for our little birthday boy Samson. He is ready to roll. Now let's give him some color. It's complicated, but we can do it. There is a lot of drawing to do. Let's use a round, small brush and we use dark gray. Again, the stick works great as a ruler. First the lines and then fill it in. How simple is that? Over the dark we can paint a bit of yellow ochre and alizarin crimson. Of course, light it up with titanium white. And we use this as a kind of reflection of the fire what's coming out of the kettle. Keep it rough and don't blend it in too much. Then again, there are new lines to draw. Yes, you need a lot of patience to do this, but we will get there. After doing the lines, fill it in again with dark gray. Use some different tones of gray by adding some white. If we take a good look at the plate work of the lock, there's nothing really straight. It's all made by hand and more than 100 years old. And that makes it interesting for us painters. We don't like straight things. There's nothing romantic painting a high-speed train. It's all too straight and too modern. But this is real fun. Painting another piece of blacksmith art. Here I paint all small nails and I give them a tip of English red to make it a bit rusty. The part of the chimney is a challenge. There are so many little tubes and parts, and my advice is just do the most important ones to catch the eye. Otherwise we will be painting till it's Christmas and it will be too occupied. Your viewer will drown in all kinds of unnecessary details. That is what you do. In any other painting, leave away the unnecessary details. Here I blend in the kettle a bit with more bluish gray. This is a nice effect and it makes it nice and round. And of course a lock needs a bell. Use some yellow ochre and alizarin crimson with some white and give it then at last a highlight. Below some dark gray. And before you know it, you have a real bell. Then we will build up the exhaust pipe. First, just some black lines, of course with a stick. It doesn't have to be very neat, that will come later. Then bring up the shadow with a dark gray. On the sides we can paint some light gray, but don't blend it in yet. That is the little secret we have. On the right side a little bit more gray again and don't blend it in. So very important. Use a bit medium to make it nice and smooth. On the sides we can paint some alizarin crimson with ochre and white. Yes, it looks terrible. Don't get desperate, it will work. Look, we're blending in with a clean soft filbert brush. And there it is, suddenly we have a nice round pipe. Give it a little touch of highlight and we're all complete. After the adventure of the pipe, we can paint the dark parts. This is easy. Take your time and use dark gray, and don't forget to use some medium to make it nice and smooth. Now let me take you to Holland. I know a sweet little locomotive called Bello. Of course this beauty is not a shay, but a common locomotive to transport passengers and materials. In the early last century it had its heydays in 1905 in the north of Holland. In 1960 it was placed on a square in the city of Bergen as a monument, and after 18 years rusting away in the open air it was totally restored, and yes, it rides again in North Holland. If you ever visit Holland, take a ride and enjoy our wonderful tulip fields. Yes, we can watch these wonderful pictures forever, but there's still a lot of work to do. So, for the top lamp, we will paint the outlines first, as usual. Again, I use a small round brush and almost black. After this painting, you will be a pro in drawing with oils. How cool is that? First fill in everything with dark gray and bring down the light gray. The lamp is something special. Start with some gray, and beneath that we do some ochre and lilac chrome middle tone. Don't blend it in too much. Then in the middle a touch of highlights. On the sides a bit of light ochre, and there you are, an illusion of an old rusty lamp. The front of the kettle is the same trick as the house of the engineer. It's all uneven and the metal is a bit bubbly. Paint some different tones of dark gray and don't blend it in completely. Left under we can add a bit of ochre and lilac crimson for the reflection, and on the right side we do exactly the same. On the edge are little protrusions. We can do this with a light gray, just little nibbles, and that's it. The big challenge is the kettle door. We have to consider that the light is coming from the right. So we will start with the dark shadow and middle dark gray. Use a small round brush and make it smooth with medium. Leave it like it is. No blending in yet. On the right side of the circle we will do the same, but then on the inside. That is tricky, but it makes sense. Then with light gray we will paint the light parts. Then with light strokes we will blend it in slowly, and look what a wonderful effect. Suddenly the kettle door is getting round and catching the light, of course. That is so important. Blend it in with soft light strokes, no pressure. That's the most important thing. I cannot tell it enough. No pressure. Here and there we have to do some spikes or screws and give them a little bit light on the left side. Remember, the light is coming in from the right. And if you think it's enough, it's time for the inches. Pretty tricky, but with the stick and some black gray we will paint the lines first. As you can see, I always sketch. I never do straight lines. If you make a little mistake, you can repair it so easily. By the way, if you paint in acrylics, don't forget to add retarder to your paint. It will slow down the drying process. Acrylic medium will smooth the paint and make it shine. For a wet and wet painting, it will make life a bit easier. For oils, I recommend medium also, and a nice trick to keep the brushes soft after cleaning, put them into the baby oil. Wipe them out and they will live forever. In the meantime, you see me busy setting up details in dark gray. Yes, it's quite a construction, but it will succeed certainly with the palette stick. After bringing up the dark nuts, we can add some gray. Suddenly everything looks 3D, isn't that great? Again, it doesn't have to be too straight. It's a romantic painting. Don't forget the 25 sign. All those logs had a sign. The background is English red and the digits are ochre with a bit dark yellow. English red has something special. It looks a bit rusty and it's not too bright. At last I bring in some highlights just to let it shine. Mix a bit titanium white with cadmium light yellow and suddenly your sign will shine. Well, it looks like a poet, but it's the truth. And remember, the light is coming from the right. So you put your highlight on the left. one more lamp to do. Do we still have the courage? Yes, we have. We can. We already know the drill. Some cray in the glass, and we can use the same mill cray on the sides, on the stands too. In the lamp glass, we will bring in some more cray, and then again yellow ochre with a small filbert brush, and we will blend it in. Then we paint a lighter yellow ochre with a tiny white and blend it in again. Look what a great effect. Close by it looks awful, but from a distance the lamp will shine. Upon that, a little bit of highlight for the reflection. And blend it in again, of course, but not too much. Here and there I add some more tones of ochre on the metal for reflections. It's up to you how much you want to do. It will bring back the metal to life, especially when you fade it in a little bit. It's a great technique. Try it out for yourself. As always, I like to show you one of my own paintings. And you might know that I love owls. They got something mysterious, something special. I painted this owl in soft pastel-like colors. No, it's not pastel, it's oil paint. Enjoy. They are so cute, those little guys. I really love them. I already told you we have one of them living next to our house in a big tree. And he does his singing exercises in the middle of the night. As a voice teacher, I can appreciate such a hard-working student. But sometimes, well, it's nature, right? Okay, we're almost there. The front part, which is a kind of step-up safety zone, is all painted in grays, different tones of grays. With a small round brush, we just fill in the black and light parts. It's easy. And while you're busy, I can tell you that the sales of every painting made for this show is going to the Anne Mary Bailey Fund under supervision of the president Michael Schutte in Fairwinds. This is a fund founded by the late Mary Bailey to support sick children in BC, and I don't mean children with a cold, no, a little bit more severe than that. So come to our new store in Parksville on the Hearst Avenue 114 next to Parks West Stationers, and I made a special department for these paintings, and we hope you can do a bit. That would be awesome. Thank you so much. We can bring in all kinds of pieces that belongs to the front safety part of the locomotive. It is a drawing with black and gray, but also very interesting. Consider that these spectacular little wonders of man-made technique were all made by hand, without computers or whatever modern aid. Consider that, and it's really fantastic. I almost forgot the shadows falling on the platform. Ooh, what a shame. But we can set it up right. Mix the wood tone with some dark gray and bring it up slightly. As oil paint is transparent, the wood color will peep through. Blend it in, but not too tough. Keep it light. Steam is leaking out of every lock, and this is what we need to create some action. Start with light gray and work your way up slowly. And this is our new store in Parksville, BC. This is the first week we are there, and my wife Els and I were working day and night to make it ready for teaching. Here it is still empty, but after 1 week hard labor, it looked more like this. In this place, Els can finally expose a paper artwork. And this little frog is waiting to be kissed by a beautiful princess. It will change into a handsome prince and they will live forever in the fairy castle I painted for them. How cute is that? So, princesses of all the country come up to this place and dress up nicely. Of course, your art teacher is also teaching music like piano, keyboard, bass guitar, ukulele, guitar in all styles, and of course voice lessons. Do I ever get bored? No, not really. I'm just having fun. One more look in the store in Halloween style and we go on with Samson. Sorry to make so much exposure for our new music and art school, but as you will understand, we are very proud of it. I just did some more steam, and as we are almost at the end of the show, you know what that means. Highlight time. Titanium white with some cadmium light yellow will do the trick. Suddenly everything starts to shine. The highlight makes things come forward, and that is so cool. And I think Samson is ready for takeoff. Like I told you, it was a lot of work, but we did it. Samson is ready to roll. As always, you will find the movie on our website. Thank you for watching and keep on painting.